Morning. It is English. It is Friday, and it is our last day before half term. Now, I don't know what came over me last week while I was making these home learning packs, but look at that. Surprise. There is no do now today. I don't know what came over me, guys. I do really. I want you to spend loads of time on your poetry today, okay? I want you to write really serious ones. I want you to write really silly ones, giggly ones, funny ones, absolute nonsense ones. And I want you to send them me when you're done. I don't just want you to write one. I want you to I want you to sit down. It's meant to be beautiful sunshine again today. A little bit chillier, but still lovely weather. Sit outside and just let your mind absolutely go and just enjoy writing some poetry. And I do hope you've enjoyed reading some of mine, because I really enjoyed writing them. On my teacher Twitter account, I have to follow all the teachers and see what they do and share ideas. I've posted my poems because I've really liked them. So, narrative poems, they tell a story or an event whilst keeping to some rules, but they're chosen by the poet. So I like narrative poems that rhyme still. I think it shows it helps you to tell the story because it gives you a focus of what to rhyme with next. And it also means that you can sometimes be a bit silly because you think, oh, hang on, what do I rhyme with that? Oh. And then all of a sudden you've got to make quite a silly sentence that goes with what you're writing about. You can choose anything you want to tell a story about. Could be a dragon, a pirate, could be a cake-eating ogre. I've tried to do a few, my examples have been lockdown and COVID and things like that, but for this I want silliness, okay? So I've got a couple. This one's by a poet called Ken Nesbitt. I fell asleep in class today, as I was awfully bored. I laid my head upon my desk and closed my eyes and snored. So you can see the rhyming pattern here is A, B, C, B, because those two lines don't rhyme. So it's just the second and fourth line that rhyme. They're quite good ones to do sometimes. Some people try and get every line rhyming, so AA, BB, AA, and that can be quite tricky. So just ensuring that you've got two lines rhyming can work. Anyway, I closed my eyes and snored. I woke to find a piece of paper sticking to my face. I'd slobbered on my textbooks, and my hair was a disgrace. My clothes were badly rumpled, and my eyes were glazed and red. My binder left a 3-ring indentation in my head. That's a good bit. I slept through class, and probably I would have slept some more, except my students woke me up as they headed out the door. Really good poems have a little twist at the end. So it was the teacher that had fallen asleep. I would never do that, I'm full of beans. Here's one that I did, and I will be completely honest, so I'll tell you a bit more about this. A couple of years ago, I really started liking the idea of writing stories and poems. And I kind of gave myself a challenge to try and write things. I came up with a few ideas. I unfortunately never got round to them, but this is something I scribbled down on a piece of paper a couple of years ago on holiday, in the 6 weeks holiday, and it was going to be. I told my class last year it was going to be called Sir Farts a Lot, and it was going to be a knight who had a dietary requirement and he couldn't eat dairy to try and help people understand dietary requirements. So every time he ate something dairy, he'd get quite bad stomachache and then let rip. But I didn't finish the story. I only got to this first bit. So here's how mine goes. This story begins with the Knights of the Round Table, but this is no story, nor fiction or fable. It's back in the times of sword and knights, where battles were won wearing chainmail and tights. The greedy and lazy lords of the land looked down at commoners and never lent a hand. That should be never, not ever. Typing error. The poor were made to pay more taxes and fees, to live in damp houses and surely freeze. Who will save the day and rescue the land? Who will give these poor people a kind helping hand? And that was by me. I finished the poem there because I thought it'd be a nice cliffhanger. So they're two silly ones, and I love that. I expect unicorns to be appearing in the bottom of the garden. Okay, that's just where I know some of you will go with that. Some of you might have a zombie who came to tea. I don't know. There is also some serious ways of doing this. Now, this is an extract from The Raven by a very famous writer called Edgar Allan Poe. And the only reason I know this is because there's a brilliant video from The Simpsons. And The Simpsons actually recreated this poem into a little short 5-minute scene in The Simpsons. And it's the full poem, just with Homer and Bart, I think it is, trying to show you what the poem's about. So please go and click on that. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping on my chamber door. 'Tis some visitor, I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more. So there's some really clever rhyming going on there, and it's a serious storytelling. I don't expect you to create something that high level, but just a bit of extra culture. Have a click on there, watch the Simpsons clip, and listen to the poem. Come on, guys, give me something funny, give me a chuckle before half term. Have a go, send me some stuff, and I really want to have a laugh at this. All right, so good luck with that and enjoy.